The following program is made possible with the support of Diana Corbett with Century 21 Sawyer and Associates, Hendrick Toyota Scion of Wilmington, Papa John's Pizza, Port City Daily, and WILM.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com. Don't forget you can catch all our high school athletic coverage each and every day at PortCityDaily.com and on my radio show twice a week on 103.7 FM at 6 p.m. on Mondays and 11 a.m. on Saturday mornings. Up this week are the four boys coaches across New Hanover County, the varsity level. Up first is Ashley, first-year coach, Webb Guthrie. And Coach Guthrie, it's good to see you here on stage, a little outside of the gymnasium in more of a relaxed atmosphere.
I appreciate you having me. Screaming
Eagles right now 5-4 in conference, 9-9 overall. Coming off a couple of tough setbacks over the last 2 weeks. You brought West Brunswick all the way down to the brink, unable to come up with that victory, and then a tough setback to New Hanover this past week, a one-point game. I had a chance there to win it at the line and just unable to convert with some free throws in the final seconds there. So I think a lot of learning experiences for your guys and for you as a head coach over the last 2 or so weeks.
Yeah, Joe, I think you said it well. I think we're starting to see some consistency from our guys, which is nice. We got to play in some tough games and get through those moments. Had a tough West game, really tough Hanover game, like you just said, 3 seconds. We got, our best shooter at the line to win it. We don't come through. Just some tough moments to get through. Got a resilient group. We just learn from it and move on.
Well, I think for you, maybe as a first-year head coach, you're also learning some things on how to maybe, lead the ship, I guess, when things kind of go awry or you come up on the wrong end of a tough basketball game. You're learning a lot about yourself on how to, motivate these kids to stay up and, ready for the task at hand.
Yeah, it's exciting. I've been able to learn a lot about these kids this year. It's been nice lately. I'm tweaking some things lineup-wise, seeing who's giving me minutes here and there, some toughness, some execution. So it's been nice to get to know these guys and just see them develop throughout the course of the season.
Well, you dropped that one-point game to New Hanover, and like you said, your best shooter, Tyree Gathright, at the line, unable to come through. But I liked how he bounced back, and you guys as a team bounced back as well this past Friday. Go on the road and pick up a big win in conference. And that must, build some more confidence for you guys to be able to, after an emotional loss, it's easy maybe to have another letdown game to follow that, but that did not happen the other night.
Yeah, it's nice, like you just said, to bounce back. At this point in the conference, all these games are tough games. Any road on the win is huge. After the Hanover game, you walk in the locker room, you dress the team. Obviously pretty down in that locker room. I just walked in and said just that, guys. Sometimes the ball's not going to bounce our way. That's life. We respond to it the right way. Good to see our guys bounce back on Friday, have a good win on the road at Topsail.
Well, there's no question on your team, Tyree Gathright is the go-to guy. It seems like every time you're sending me your scores and scores for the night, if I'm not there covering it, Gathwright's there over 20 points or so. I mean, you must be really impressed with the way he's kind of handled that number one role for your team this year.
Yeah, I really am. You talk about consistency. Tyree's just night in, night out in this conference, being real consistent. You got to realize a lot of guys scouting us. He's who you're looking at. Tyree's been putting up those numbers with that. Really been impressed more than anything defensively. I think he's really, he's getting about 4 or 5 steals per game now and really bought into that end a little bit more on the floor. I think he's liking some stuff we're doing. So it's just nice to see from a consistent level from him. Now we're just working on getting that consistency with some other guys and as a team in some tough moments of games.
Well, I think also you have some role players that have really stepped up. Jake Stinnett being one of those, kind of running the point maybe in the backcourt for you. And, he's pretty nifty in there. He might not show it size-wise, but with his athletic ability, he's able to get in and, bang some elbows in the trenches and obviously can shoot the ball from the outside as well.
Yeah, Jake's been great for us. His confidence really grown lately on the court. He really is becoming the vocal leader of the group. The guys listen to Jake. Good to see in tough moments him really get us settled down, and I think we execute well when the ball's in Jake's hands. That's when we're at our best. So it's good to see him step up and that confidence grow in him this year.
When I look across your team, I see that you have a couple of players that can score the basketball, and you have a guard like Jake Stinnett that can shoot the ball from the outside, kind of run the offense. Tyree, just his playmaking ability, and then you got a big guy down low with Ryan Keller, who I would like to see you get the ball more to down in the low post, just because he has that size and ability, and I think he's been growing too as the season has progressed.
Yeah, Ryan's found his moments well here and there in the games. Ryan's just a great kid. He's so bought into everything. Even in tough moments where he's not scoring at times, on the defensive end, it's not going to stop Ryan. He's going to go down there and give you everything he's got. Even been nice to see some of our young guys coming on. We got a sophomore, Bryson Davis. He's really thrived this year in our system. He was a kid playing low minutes on JV last year, and he's come in and really played some really tough minutes and some tough ball games here for us, so it's good to see.
We're here with Ashley boys basketball coach Webb Guthrie talking Screaming Eagles hoops right now, and we talked about some of the role players, and one other guy that I thought that really did a good job down low, especially on the glass, was Alex Highsmith. Football player by trade, but he gets out there on the floor, and you could see the physical nature. He's not afraid to bang elbows and get dirty down in the low.
Alex really does. We talk about toughness. Alex just embodies that. He's a kid. I think we play Hanover. He leads all rebounders with 14. Out-toughed him for most of the game, just going at the ball. Alex, he looks at me before the game sometimes, just says, "Coach, I got you." And, I believe it. He's going to go in and play tough. He's going to scrap. He knows his role. He knows his role, and he plays it well. So.
We're here with Webb Guthrie again. The Eagles, our Screaming Eagles, are 9-9 overall, 5-4 in conference, right in the middle of the pack in the Mid-Eastern Conference standings as we kind of head through the stretch run over the next couple of weeks. It's hard to believe that we're headed down the stretch with these high school basketball teams in the county. And as we wrap up our conversation, Coach, what is it going to take for the Screaming Eagles to kind of get over that hump? You've lost a couple of tough games. That experience will go a long way, obviously, moving forward. But it would be nice to get one in the win column when it comes down to late in the game and it's close. And
it would. I think we're there. I think we've got two teams in this conference, West and Hoggard, that are really good basketball teams. We got New Hanover, who's playing right behind them. I think we're right there in the mix. I think everybody in this conference on any given night is capable of playing with anybody. I think it's a very balanced out conference. I think we're right there on the verge. I think our guys had to get through some of those tough games to really know how tough we have to play in those moments. I think we've done that. I think we've learned from it. We've got 4 games coming up here on the road at West, which will be a tough game. We've got Hoggard coming in tomorrow night. I think we're right there. I think we're going to battle. I'd like to see us execute a little better in tight moments, and I think you're seeing us play our best basketball coming in the back half of the season, and that's always nice for a coach.
Well, I was just going to say that's kind of what you gear for each and every year, to be playing your best ball as you head down the down the stretch, and you're headed down the stretch with some tough basketball games coming up on the schedule.
Yeah, it's exciting. Us as coaches, we get defined by our wins and losses. That's the nature of the job, but. So many things I'm enjoying about this year, this season, these kids, the opportunities we get to mold them, to work with them every day, to teach valuable life lessons throughout the season. I'm enjoying the process. I'm never going to let the wins define me. We're going to work hard. I think we're playing well, and exciting group. I'm excited.
Well, I really do think, beyond the wins and the W's and the L's, you are doing a great job over there at Ashley. And while the record may not show at 5-4, you've played some really competitive games this year and have been right in it to the end. And, hopefully you're able to get over that hump over down the stretch.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I just love to see this program moving forward. That's what you're going to see from us. We're going to fight and battle, and we're going to play consistent as we can. So I think good things to come.
Ashley boys basketball coach Webb Guthrie here on the Sports Roundtable. Coach, it's always a pleasure talking with you, and we look forward to catching up with you in a couple weeks.
I appreciate you guys having me, Jeff.
That's Ashley boys basketball coach Webb Guthrie. The Screaming Eagles are 5-4 in conference, 9-9 overall, looking to get above the 500 mark as they head through action this week. We'll take a break here on the Sports Roundtable. We'll catch up with Laney boys basketball coach Nathan Falk right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. I'm Joe Katz from PortCityDaily.com. Up next is Laney boys basketball coach Nathan Falk. And coach, a couple of bounce-back wins after a tough setback to first place West Brunswick. Must be feeling pretty good after a pair of victories last week.
Yeah, we've won 3 out of our last 4, and the one loss coming by 1 point, to West Brunswick at home. So we definitely feel like we're playing a little bit better. We got 3 tough games coming up though.
Well, you're standing right now 4-5 in conference, 9-12 overall. But going back to that West Brunswick game, as we talked with Coach Guthrie from Ashley just a moment ago, a couple of teams here in this county have had the Trojans on the brink of, interrupting their unbeaten streak right now, and you were right in that place this past Friday at your own home place, and the crowd was on their feet, and you had a great effort there that obviously came up short on the end of it, but you must be proud of the guys the way they fought against a pretty good club in the Trojans.
Yes, we were down there before Christmas and lost to them by 3, so we felt like it was a good matchup for us and that we could compete and do well, and we did. Guys played hard, fought hard. But to their testament, they're winning close games, West Brunswick, and there's something to be said for that. A veteran team and well coached. But I'm very proud of how we played there, and we feel like we kind of got out there with a loss, and it could have gone the other way very easily.
Well, a couple of players that have really stood out over the last couple of weeks. We'll start with that West Brunswick game, and Marquand Miller. He's been a guy for you all season, really, that has kind of stepped up in a different role and been asked to do some different things. And for the most part, he's answered your call.
Marquand's done a lot for us defensively. He's very active. He leads our team in steals. He's obviously elevates well, gets to the glass, gets to the basket, and is really good on the glass. So he's done a lot for us, and will continue to do a lot for us down the stretch. Even next year.
Really an explosive guy, athletic and just all around. He can do a number of things for you defensively on the offensive end. And as we see here towards the end of this reel here, Marquand came up and brought the crowd to their feet towards the end of that half when he was able to come away with a steal and finish a big slam that really brought some confidence and momentum on your side in that game.
He's so quick off his feet. You just saw him block a shot. He took an alley from half court from Tariq. He does come down and finish with a dunk here to end the half to really give us some momentum. And we carried it into the second half. We just couldn't. Here's the dunk coming up. We just couldn't quite finish it, down the stretch. But we played hard. And was very proud of them.
So Marquand Miller, just one of those role players that have really stepped up for you. Another guy that we've talked plenty about over the last couple of seasons is your senior, Tariq Lane. He's kind of developed into that leadership role, a quiet guy, but on the floor. But for the most part, he can do it all. Defend. He's very athletic on the offensive end. Can shoot the basketball. Just an all-around pretty good athlete.
Yeah, this is the best game Tariq's had since he's been at Laney, and since I've coached him for 3 years. He made every single drive. He kept them on their toes by penetrating and getting into the paint. Made the right decision, found Jordan John open for 3 quite a few occasions, and he really, in this game, gave up the good shot for a great shot. And that's what we talk about, is give up a good shot for a great shot, and he did that this game.
Well, looking across the the roster as well, another guy that I thought has stood out over the last couple of weeks has been Chris Bennett, another young guy for you. You have a lot of youth on your team, and that'll bode well for you in the future. And they're starting to step into those roles now as you head down the stretch here in the second half of the conference schedule.
Yeah, Chris is our 5'11" center, and he's a handful down there. He rebounds the basketball for us. He's a double-double every night. As a sophomore, I didn't envision him having the year that he's had, but he's just been very productive for us, and it will vote well for us down the line.
And really, the last couple of games, at least through the perfect week last week with 2 victories, you had 3 guys that finished in double figures. Both of those games, we talked about Chris Bennett, Marquand Miller, and then another guy, Jordan John, has also stepped up for you as well.
Yeah, Jordan, he's a guy that's hit, I think coming into this week, he's hit 56 threes this year with some games left, 3 or 4 games left, possibly, hopefully more, but at least some games down the stretch that's left. So who knows, what kind of year he can finish up with shooting a 3 ball, shooting about almost 40% from 3. So that ability to stretch the defense and knock down shots the way he can do has helped us out a lot.
And how big is it for guys like Tariq and Marquand to be able to get into the lane and then be able to dish out to a guy that more times than not is going to drain that outside shot?
Well, that's what we have. We have some guys that can penetrate well, and he's hovering outside ready to knock it down. And so if we had a major post presence, that would change the game for us, but we're making do what we have with Chris Bennett in there and some guys that are developing on our bench. I think will help us and vote well for us next year.
Well, we look at some of the highlights now from Jordan, and both 2 shots right there. He can hit it from any side of the floor, no matter if he wants to pull up from NBA range or from the corner or wherever. He can shoot the rock.
Well, we certainly look to him in transition. We certainly look to him in the trail position. A lot of drift passes, obviously, but he scores it in a lot of variety of ways, or gets those threes off in a lot of variety of ways. And if he gets it off, he has a pretty good chance he's going in for it.
He's got kind of a way as a shooter to find that little hole in the defense and kind of just lingers around that three-point line to find that, you know, open space to be able to get those shots to fall.
Yeah, he finds gaps and holes extremely well, and like I said, when he catches it and his feet are set, it looks good for us.
Well, you haven't made many complaints this year, even though, like you said, your tallest guy might be 6'1", 6'2", and you know that rebounding effort, especially against the teams here in the county, you know, often struggles at times. And I think you guys have still played hard, despite, you know, some of the limitations you may have from a size standpoint.
Oh, I'm very proud of how we've done this year. You know, other than you know, the Hoggard games, we've been and in every game, you know, no matter who it was, with a chance to win. That's all you can ask for. Some we have, some, you know, we're also, did the math the other night, we're 10 points away from being 13-8. You know, you lose to West Brunswick at 3 at their place, lose by 1 at our place, Scotland by 1, Pender by 1. Do the math. I mean, so we've been right there, and we're very proud of that. We're very proud of the culture we're having now and building, and the guys we have.
Well, I know it seems kind of a cliche to say this, but you know, oftentimes a team needs to learn how to lose before, you know, they can grow and become winners, and that's how I think we are right now, especially with a group that is as young as yours. Yeah,
I mean, we, you know, with you know, we got 2 seniors. And Darius, I'd be remiss to talk about Darius Johnson, who's transferred in from San Antonio, who's kind of stepped in and has helped us out a lot as a senior. But, you know, those 2 seniors are all we have, so the future really is, you know, I think, heading in the right direction for us.
Laney boys basketball coach Nathan Falk. Coach Falk, we look forward to seeing you on the floor in the next couple of days and weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Laney boys basketball coach Nathan Falk here on the Sports Roundtable. The Bucks, winners of 2 straight this past week, heading through crunch time in the Mid-Eastern Conference schedule. We'll take a quick break, and we'll catch up with Hoggard boys basketball coach Brett Queen right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. We appreciate Ashley boys coach Webb Guthrie and Laney head basketball coach Nathan Falk for stopping by earlier in the show. We'll now catch up with Hoggard 13-year coach Brett Queen. And Coach Queen, it's a pleasure to see you here on stage, and looking forward to talk some Viking basketball here over the next few minutes.
Good to be here.
Well, first and foremost, we have to get through the task at hand, and I got to give you congratulations and a tip of the cap to you and a milestone coaching-wise. Your 231st career victory a couple of weeks ago. You are now the all-time leader in wins for Hoggard from a coaching standpoint. So really a great accomplishment for yourself, and maybe just a few thoughts on you know, that accomplishment that you've reached you know, a couple weeks ago.
Well, I appreciate that. It's it's been a great 13 years. At Hoggard, and had a lot of really good players that worked really hard and sort of bought into the culture that we had, you know, that was there, that we've continued to have at Hoggard, and you know, great assistant coaches to work with, and been a lot of fun. Great place to go to work every day, and great kids to work with, and just you know, it's really it's a program thing, and you know, it's been fun to sort of reflect back on these years, and you know, looking forward to many more.
230 wins plus now, a couple of victories following that career feat for yourself. And if you want to read more about Coach Queen and his accomplishments and what he's been able to do with the Hoggard boys basketball program over the last 13 years, check out a story that I have this week at PortCityDaily.com. Got to give a shameless plug there, looking for as many clicks as possible, Coach. But moving forward, and obviously that is kind of in the rearview mirror at this point. You can reflect on that at the end of the season. You're right in the thick of a Mid-Eastern Conference race. You and West Brunswick at the top of the standings right now. You're 7-1 in conference. On a 5-game winning streak right now, coming off a big victory over New Hanover this past Friday. A totally different second half for you. You know, trailed by as many as 10 early in the third quarter. You came storming back and really, you know, put it to the Wildcats. Maybe just talk about some of the differences and adjustments you made at halftime.
Well, we felt like in the first half that we were not playing well defensively, and you know, that's something that you know, we have been better at this year than what I think we were the last couple of years. And you know, the last several games we're holding teams in the 40s, which you know, that's what we needed to do. We're playing some good teams with some really talented players, and you know, trying to take away things that they like to do. And you know, we knew that especially our interior defense in the first half against New Hanover, they were they were really getting in the paint and making passes to people for easy layups. I think all of their points in the first half were layups and free throws, and so we knew that we needed to make some adjustments there, and did some different things with our ball screen defense in the second half to try to make it to where they didn't exactly know how we were playing things, and so I thought our defense got our offense going, which over the last few years we have not been that kind of a team, but we have pounded defense into their heads so much this year that we can actually see it start to make a difference out on the court and how they're doing things.
Well, I know I talked to you after the game, and that was kind of one of the things that you mentioned was that that's kind of how the blueprint is written up, is that you want to make your defense kind of dictate how the offense plays on the other end of the floor. And, you had some big efforts on that offensive end, but really, as a whole, up and down your roster, you're able to rotate guys in and out that you don't lose much from a defensive standpoint, and in turn on the offensive end with your guys coming out of the bench, 7, 8, 9 guys deep on your roster.
Yeah, and we've had different guys step up in different games and at different times during the year. And Friday night, 2 kids, and I told both of them that I thought that they would play a little earlier and more than what they had been playing. Gaddafi Turner and Hashim Michelle, and both of them really gave us good effort on the defensive end. And Gaddafi a little bit, being able to handle the ball some to where we didn't just have one ball handler out there on the floor.
Well, your other ball handler, Trey Bryant, a senior for you, one of the top players, at least in my eye, across the county and even in this whole region. He has the ability to really change the way the game, the outcome of games, and he did that. 16 points in the second half. He had a game-high 23, but 16 after the break, and just his ability to get into the lane and able to kick it out or drive to the hole hard. He really is a focal point of what you're trying to do.
Well, in addition to his scoring, what makes him so special, I think, is his ability to pass. And I think we've got on the video of some of the highlights. He makes some shots at them, but some of the things that you'll see in that is his ability to pass as well and find our guys. We've got some. This is when we played Southview up on Martin Luther King holiday, and our guys. We tell the guys to run the floor and be ready. It's a great job of hitting the head right there. But he is just able to find guys that are open, guys are ready to score, and so that is to me what makes him really special, is his ability to just get the ball to guys in positions where they can score. A lot of times people focus on the number of points that guys score, but Trey last year as a junior averaged. You can't coach that right there. I mean, that's just he knew right where AJ was and knew how to get it to him, and AJ was also ready to score. That's not a pass that a lot of people expect to get. But last year Trey had he averaged about 15 points a game and about 5 assists a game, led us in both categories, and he's doing the same thing again this year. And his passing is to me what really sets him apart. And he can score as well. He can shoot it. He hasn't shot the ball as well this year from 3 as he did last year, but something that we've been working on. And that right there is Patrick Morrison hitting the shot. Xavier Johnson was hurt and couldn't play in this game, and Patrick came off the bench and scored 17 points, making me look stupid for not playing anymore. But Patrick's one of the kids that played football for so long in his first year on the varsity team, and he's getting better and coming along, but he had a really good game up there at Topsail offensively. And
one of those guys I did see over and over again in that highlight reel, the recipient of those passes from Trey Bryant was A.J. Fry, as you mentioned, and to have a big guy to be able to run the floor like he does, and with the his ability to catch the ball. Oftentimes you get big guys that their hands may not be, especially knowing his size and ability, that to be able to catch that ball and play in the low post and do it all for you down in the paint.
A.J. has great hands, and I mean he can. When he shoots free throws, you'll see he just holds the ball in one hand before he starts his free throw routine. But he used to be a boxer, but he has great hands. And he and Trey have a good chemistry out there on the court. That shot by Jack Bagley was a huge shot. We were down 34-27 with about a minute left in the third quarter. and that started the 18-0 run that propelled us to the win. And a lot of that was Trey being aggressive, and he and AJ both had huge second halves. But then, here's AJ going to the basket and finishing. And what enabled that to be able to happen was the shot fake from the three-point line. And he's hit threes this year, and he's worked to make himself a good three-point shooter. And so he's a threat to do that, to where you actually have to react to that shot fake. And so it was a really, really fun last 10 minutes of the game. Game was much closer than the final score indicated, but just really proud of our guys for continuing to fight throughout the course of the game, and great move right there. And that shoots the ball over his head, and there are people talking about circus shot or trick shot. We work on that all the time. I mean, that's a move that we work on in practice, and so it's nice to see somebody putting things into play that that we're actually working on in practice, and the guys that work with our post players really enjoy that too.
Well, I do know, kind of talking with you, is that from the preparation standpoint, is that you try to put your guys in that position where you're practicing almost to game speed, where you want to put them in every situation possible. So when it comes game time, it's only natural that they do what they've been practicing all week for.
Well, if you're out there trying to do things that you've never worked on, usually the results are not real good. And so, we do try to prepare them for any situation, and also create situations in practice where they have to sort of figure things out. We were doing some situation stuff with our JVs last week, and I didn't let the coaches call any timeouts during. One coach had one team, one coach had the other. They could give them some instruction at the beginning of the situation, but then once we started playing, they couldn't call timeouts. They had to, they could give instruction, but there weren't going to be timeouts called. And trying to get the kids to think. You cannot simulate actual game environments, but you can do things to try to make the guys think and process things on the fly, so that when they get in those situations, they've got something to rely on that they've worked on.
Well, 7-1 in conference on a little 5-game winning streak right here. Heading into crunch time, obviously, every game really important right now in the Mid-Eastern Conference. And for you, finally getting back into some sort of normalcy when it comes to a schedule and your game schedule, Tuesday, Friday, back to normal. Exams are over, bye weeks are over, everything's over. You're able to get back to practice, the task at hand, and with your game preparation heading into another big week. What's it going to take for the Vikings to make that step from second place to first place over the next couple of games?
Well, we've got to win. We told our kids that we still control whether or not we can at least have a share of a conference title. And if we lose at any point, then we've got to rely on somebody else to help us out, or so we've got to be focused on Ashley first, and then Laney, and then West Brunswick, and then South Brunswick. You got to take it. The most important thing is you have a good practice, you prepare, you play, and focus on the opponent that you're playing. And but for us to accomplish the goal that we want to be a conference champion, we've got to win the rest of our games. So hopefully we can continue to play well.
Hoggard boys basketball coach Brett Queen here on the Sports Roundtable. The Vikings 7-1 in conference, 15-5 overall, looking to make one last push here to at least share a Mid-Eastern Conference title. We'll see how it all pans out in the final 2 weeks to go. We're going to wrap up the Sports Roundtable here. Unfortunately, Coach Kirk Angel is unable to attend this broadcast. Just a quick look at the Wildcats. They're 5-3 in conference, 12-7 overall, looking to bounce back from a tough week with a loss to the Hoggard Vikings back on Friday. Again, as I mentioned, New Hanover 5-3 in third place right now in the Mid-Eastern Conference standings, with a couple of big games coming up over the next week or so. A Friday matchup down in Charlotte against West Brunswick High School. Well, that'll do it for a fresh edition of the Sports Roundtable. Appreciate the coaches, Brett Queen from Hoggard, Webb Guthrie from Ashley High School, and Laney boys basketball coach Nathan Falk for joining me on today's show. We'll catch up with the 4 New Hanover County girls varsity basketball coaches next week. For everyone here inside the Sports Roundtable, we'll talk to you next time.